Welcome to Health Oddity, the show that strips away the jargon and hype surrounding all things health and fitness to help you live a long, strong and energetic life. Lining up at the bar this week, here's Peter Lant, Paul Bassett and James St. Pierre.
Hi there and welcome to the Health Oddity podcast, episode 2. And we're back again. There's myself, there's Peter Lant, who to me is that way, and Paul Bassett, who to me is that way. Probably different in going forward. So what we're going to talk about today, guys, we thought we would start the conversation and open up the topic all about exercise and training post-lockdown. Most of us are coming out of a lockdown situation now. I think Scotland is still possibly not reopened, and I'm not sure about Ireland, Northern Ireland at the moment. Things keep changing, and there are localised lockdowns, I know. But we thought we'd have a little conversation today about ourselves, about how studios and training has gone, training ourselves, going back into gym environments and exercising, and see if we can put any sort of clarity around what is happening. And then if you have questions at home you want to send in to us, we can help as well. So how have you been going? If I go first to it looks like Paul is actually in his studio at the moment, I think. How have things been going for you, Paul, since going back?
Well, I mean, the first thing that we did when lockdown kicked in was take everything online. It was a necessity. I mean, our clients still wanted to train. They still wanted to get results. And it was a big change, a big transition, taking a business from completely online, in person to suddenly completely online. But what we found is, I did loads of surveys just because I like to have all that kind of information to hand, but with, surveys of my clients to find out when they'd be coming back to the gym. And what I know, what I thought would happen would be that probably 50% would come back and a lot would stay online. But what I've noticed is that those people who built a habit training online are kind of maintaining that habit, the virtual training. And I'm pleased with the work we've done because, my trainers that I work with are excellent. So we've actually managed to fulfill the needs of those people by training online. And therefore, the race to come back has been slower than I thought. What I am finding instead is that I'm taking on new people who do want to train in person and online, and they're fine to come in. So it's just kind of opened up a whole new kind of raft of people. For those people who want the convenience of training online, that still exists, and I've not got rid of that. But for those people who are like desperate to get back into the gym, then I've got the studio open. I've got lower footfall, which means we're not training as many people because we're having to clean everything, and I don't have a huge space. But you don't really need that much space if you're going to do things effectively, as long as you know what you're doing. And we've just marked everything out. I mean, if you were to look at the floor, it's all marked out, 2-meter spaces. Everything's cleaned in between. So, we limit the classes to maybe 4 tops, 4 people in a class, but often there's less than that. And that's working for people. It's working for my business. And but I thought there'd be this kind of sudden rush for everyone to get back. But I think there's still a little bit of a cloud over the kind of risks around gyms, which I understand, and I don't, not that I'm immune to it. It is my business. I am here, I'm working, and I have to be prescient to those things. But I think there are people who are quite happy that virtual still exists, and those who want to get into the gym, they're happy to get in the gym. And so that mix for me is actually working quite well. But it's just, obviously anyone's business. We're trying to get back up and running to where we were before lockdown.
Excellent. And how have you found things, Peter? Because I know that you were more sort of outside anyway pre-lockdown. But has anything changed for you since?
Loads. I mean, first off, I've now got Bernadette going around in my head because Paul mentioned the 4 tops. But anyway, I basically train my guys outside. We use kettlebells. I'm going to start introducing loads more maces and stuff with them. We're going to get Indian clubs going, and we're loads more stuff. I've got loads of stuff to take down there for them now. But
just want to say, Pete, massively impressed with your progress on the Indian club recently. It's incredible.
10 minutes a day, I'm telling you. It's the way to go. It's the way to go. Bloody love it. I did used to juggle about 30 years ago, though, so there is that. So it's not like total beginner. Do you know what I mean? There's stuff in there. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, when the lockdown happened, I just we could see it coming, right? So I just said to my guys, right, take bells home with you. If you haven't got, if you're not here, I'll deliver them to you. So I delivered the bells around, and I was like, right, we're going straight online. And it worked perfectly for that. The biggest problem was, and this is what I like to do a lot with, and I know you guys have got the same as well, is the community aspect of it online isn't quite the same. When you've got guys in person and they're all getting on and they're all having a chat, like there was one guy in particular who really, really sort of gregarious, really noisy, really funny. I've got quite a lot of Scottish guys who come, as it happens, but he's a proper brash Scottish, hilarious bloke. And he was dead quiet online. He didn't say a peep. And everyone was like, is he all right? Is he all right? You know what I mean? So there was like funny little things like that going on. But once it started to ease a bit more, I mean, you know, there was sometimes more than 5 people in a group, so I couldn't get back outside again. But as soon as we could, we were back outside. But from the getting back into a gym side of it, I'm a consumer on that side because I don't have a gym. I do train in a gym, but that's because I've got a specific goal that I'm training towards with the barbell. So I started going back there last week after I got back off holiday. And it's really good because the way they do it, it's not usually that busy when I go anyway. But the way they've got it is you just book yourself in online, and then you turn up. So there's only 4 people allowed in the training space in one go. So I just book mine on a Sunday the week in advance, like I do I tell all of my guys to do. So I'm like, right, so I'll go Wednesday at 8 o'clock. Oh, it's gone. I'm like, right, on a Sunday, I'm booking Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and that's when I go because I know when to go. And it's been great because everything's spaced out. You know, there's sanitizer by all the equipment, so you wipe it down before you start. You do your thing. You wipe it down when you finish. And it's great. It's brilliant. I mean, it's obviously not ideal for the gym because they want to get as many people in as possible, but for the consumer, I feel totally safe in there, which is great. Which is great because it was never the cleanest gym in the land anyway. But actually, it's just I feel at ease going in there because people do keep their distance as well. It's quite funny how quickly this has got ingrained. So I haven't been to the gym for like 5 months, but it's quite funny how quickly it's got ingrained just in society of everyone just keeps out of everyone's way. I find it really interesting, and I wonder how long it'll take once, you know, I don't know whether it's next year or whenever, when they say, oh, everything's all right again, people will be like, I'm not touching them because no, you know, it'll be really weird. It'll be weird. But no, as a consumer, so coming on it from the other side, it's been really good. So I've quite enjoyed it, and like I say, the guys who I'm training outside again, are still keeping the bells and still bringing their own, using that bell and then leaving. Because sometimes we use double bells and we'll share the bells. Can't do that at the moment. So it's, but what has been really good there is as well, and you guys will know this from training, it's taken a little bit of a step back from doing heavy stuff all the time and all of that, and just trying to work on basically on movements, on bodyweight moves, getting technique right. And then that then feeds through to when you're allowed to start doing stuff heavier again, when they've got double bells and all of that, then they'll be able to do more stuff, but they'll be better at it. So it's worked out really well. I think that's another positive that comes from it. I think it's forced everybody to take a step back, and me as well, and do take a different view of things as well. So it's been really good.
I've just got a vision of you, Peter, dressed as a clown at the moment, juggling. I don't know why.
I haven't got a clown outfit. I've got a Rubik Cube outfit.
I've seen that. The morph outfit. Yeah.
But the point you made about the community. I mean, I work probably 70% of my client base is women. So when it came to community online, that was actually really strong because I just think maybe women are better at making communities. You know, my wife's always having a go at me for not keeping in touch with people because I spend a lot of time on the phone, but it's work. you know, and I'll talk to people on the phone, and I'll be talking to them, and I'll be like, you know, we'll talk about what we need to. But in my own social time, I don't spend much time on the phone. I don't find it a natural way to interact with people. And Zoom as well. Well, I'd have to force myself to book in a call with someone. I wouldn't just say, "Hey guys, do you want to have a Zoom?" But the Facebook
That's
group
thing now, isn't it?
Yeah, that's it exactly. I mean, but the Facebook.
Zoom. What?
What?
Oh, what?
Yeah, a pint and a Zoom. Yeah, so I mean, you know, a lot of the women would be very proactive on a Facebook group, sharing a lot, putting stuff, and we have a couple of active members which just drive the community online, and that's really valuable for me because you know, it starts to gain its own momentum. But you do have people who lurk and just watch what's happening on Facebook, and then those who are really active.
Mm. Yeah, I mean,
what about you, James? Have you, like, because your place is all opened up again, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, what I was going to say was kind of a bit of both of what you just spoke about. Really, I think as well, some people maybe from what Paul said about people maybe a little bit reticent to come back. I think most of our members are probably back now, but I think what it has done is it like you both said, it kind of made people step back a little bit and also think, well, do I need to? And I should, you know, as someone who owns the facility, it's not great for me to say, but do I actually need to use a gym, or can I? Because people have been training at home and training outside for the last 5 months, and they've actually been doing really pretty well. So I think there will be a percentage of people who will go straight back to the gym, and they certainly have. There'll be some people who maybe are a little bit reticent from a kind of a safety, you know, COVID sort of point of view to go back. But I think some people will have also sort of reassessed and thought, well, you know, I've bought some kettlebells, I've got them at home, or I've been training body weight stuff, or I've been doing this, and do I need to actually be in a gym as much as I was? And I know certainly for some of our members, and possibly for yourself, Paul, will be, well, actually, I'll come to the studio maybe once a week or twice a week, but I can still do stuff at home or do stuff online as well. So there's this kind of, it's a bit of a, you know, naff term, but this kind of hybrid model that people are now kind of possibly come to expect more, you know.
I think you've hit the nail on the head, and it's a good question for you, because does this actually utterly differentiate what you do, for example, than from a gym? Because ultimately, the people are coming to you for a very specific reason. They're not coming just to rent equipment. Mm-hmm. And whether they train in person, online, over the phone, or you send them a program, they're coming because you come with an expertise. And that hasn't changed. If anything, it's become even more relevant, I expect, for your clients.
And I think, yeah, certainly from some of the conversations I've had with, you know, members of our facility and people who maybe I just know who are members of maybe more, you know, the kind of big chain commercial kind of health clubs and gyms where, like you say, they're potentially paying money each month really just to go and use the equipment, you know, over and above actually any specific coaching and things like that. And I think they're probably, they found ways to train at home. They found ways to train online that are potentially cheaper, that are more convenient for them because they don't necessarily need to leave the house. They can just do it at home if they've got children or kids are in bed. So yeah, I think you're right. I think that's going to be the big sort of differentiator between businesses that come out of this and, you know, survive it and do well, and those that maybe don't make it or suffer a little bit more. I mean, I know that we're already doing sort of like, say, for example, the classes that we run at the studio, we've now capped at about 8 people, where previously we may have had 12, 15. They're capped at 8, but at the same time as the class happening live at the studio, it's being, you know, broadcast on Zoom or Facebook Live to our members. And you've often got 8 people doing it in the studio and 8 people doing it at home as well, you know. So, and if people have got to maybe drive 15 minutes to get to the studio and it's a half hour or 45-minute class and they don't really need equipment, they're just as happy to log on and do it at home, you know, rather than come in. So I think that will stick, actually. I think we've had a lot of feedback from people saying that they want that flexibility to be able to do in person or, you know, online. But I do think a massive part that we've all said is the community, whether you're doing it outside in an open space, or you're doing it in a studio, or you're doing it anywhere, that the actual community and people actually interacting with each other is what most of our members had really missed.
Well, that's what I've noticed so much from your business posts and stuff like that is you're not talking about techniques. You're not talking about you're documenting the community. That's what I see the most of. People getting together in the park. You know, you had those ladies who had a load of mace bells, swinging those in the park. You know, and all those things. That was kind of self accountability that you'd establish within those groups. And essentially, you're an accountability partner. You're stimulating this kind of desire and giving a framework, and then people are building their own thing around your framework. And I think that's quite exciting. For me, it's good to see your business because it's really interesting to get the ideas of what you're doing and translate them to what I'm doing.
No, fantastic. Thank you.
That's the exact thing I was thinking this morning, actually, because I went down the gym this morning, and so I've not picked up a barbell for 5 months. Like I said, I went back last week. Lost a little bit of strength, but not a lot, right? So I'm like, you know, I've been using kettlebells, maces, whatever, outside. Been doing that for years anyway. So I haven't lost a lot by doing something completely different, because it is just the keeping moving and staying strong, isn't it? But, you know, obviously different things give you a different stimulus in a different way. But for me, going back to doing the barbell, I don't like being indoors. However, I do like using a barbell. So that's what I've got to do. But this is the thing. You can say people can do their thing at home, but they're still a member of your gym. So if they need any help, they'll come down and go, right, can I have a session? Because, like, you know, I need some, like, help with this. And then you can say, right, and do an hour with them or whatever. And then, like right, or you run workshops and what have you, and then go, right, now go away and play with that and come back in a month or two's time. You know, try it online, what have you. Come back in a month or two's time, see what it's like. And then we'll go from there. And it empowers people as well, which is what we're all about, isn't it? You know, so I think that's what I've got out of this. You know, the things that people were already probably doing, they might have tried something different as well. And then it's like, hang on, this now works as well, which is what I've been doing as well. So, but it doesn't take away from the fact that I still love using kettlebells and barbells. I've just started to like using a lot more, but not for the sake of using more equipment as well. It all actually goes in together. So like with maces, you can do stuff in between sets. With Indian clubs, you can. I was doing that this morning in the gym. Get some weird looks doing that. You know, and just silly little things like that. In between sets, like just like lots of time and like bits of equipment you can take down the park that weigh 5 kilos, so it's not much to carry. So yeah, stuff like that has been this has been a big eye opener for me. I think definitely.
No, I mean, I find that I actually personally feel better than I have done for I'd almost say years. You know, coming out of lockdown physically, because I was just very I was limited by what I had, so it was just going back to kettlebells and mace and just moving, and I wasn't worried about trying to lift anything heavy, you know, building up the kettlebell stuff, but I just felt strong, you know, feel good, no back pain, you know, just feel really good. So I think lockdown's been good for me, and I think it's been good for a lot of people. I don't know if you're frozen at the moment, Peter. Are you still there?
No, I'm here.
He's just agreeing. Agreeing in silence.
There you go.
How did you find
your own... Yeah, sorry, go on, Pete. I was just going to ask Paul how he found his own sort of, you know, training throughout lockdown. Did you go into the studio and train yourself, or did you do more stuff at home through the lockdown, or?
All stuff at home. I mean, I took a barbell back home with me. I've got a concrete floor in the downstairs of the house, and I took a couple of 24s, 216s, 220s. So I took quite a bit of gear. You know, I own a studio, so I could just take that gear, you know. But I had a plan, and I went in and adapted. I mean, I decided to opt to work with Paul McElroy.
Ah, yeah.
So he offers training for other trainers. I think it's kind of his little side that he does as a bit of a passion project to work with other people. And because we run the Amazing 12 here, which we're doing a second round in September, actually. We I just got interested in I found a lot of my own limitations, and I was kind of psyching myself out of stuff. It's quite easy when you're the kind of driver of your own change that you can get a bit tired, and you can kind of just go around in circles and not really think outside the box. And often what I think I can do and what I can do is very different. And having someone outside, which is my job for someone else, can say, well, yeah, you should be able to do that. Why can't you do that? And then, if anything, having that training was very important, because as soon as lockdown kicked in, I'm dealing with the fact that I may have lose my business, I may do this, I'm having to change everything, everything's going mental, and I feel like, crap. And having that there, and then also having someone who can just say, look, just focus on this, do this, or just telling me to shut up. And he's a bit hard, he's a bit tough love. That I can just drive through it, and it kept me kind of focused, because my brain was all over the place. But obviously everything was simplified, because I couldn't have a bench press, I didn't have a squat rack, I didn't have all those things. I had a barbell with about 110 kilos on, so it wasn't a huge amount. So it was just everything was adapted to the gear. But just like for my clients, I had someone giving me this information, and it made a massive difference, because I just didn't want to have to think about it.
Yeah. I think that for me, it's really it helped sort of. Before lockdown, I started to simplify everything down sort of at the end of last year, and what it really made me realise, and I know that Peter, you're already living a fairly simple lifestyle, if you like, in terms of
meager.
No, but in terms of the equipment you have at your disposal and the way you do things, and it really made me realise that actually, you don't need very much at all to be very happy and to do very well and to have a really good session and to be able to offer really good workouts and programs for people. So it's kind of like you say, it's been an eye opener. It's probably going to lead to more simplification from me in my own life and my own business and the way I do things as well. So I think it's been you've got to look at the positives and take out all the learnings from these things, haven't you?
It's made me a better coach. I'm sure it's made you guys better coaches.
My thing with it is there's a thing within the industry, and I hear lots of people say it is like, you need a trainer to push you further. And I don't think that's like, most people need a trainer to hold them back because they're doing too much, or they want to do too much, or they set a goal and they go, right, I want to be able to do, I don't know, something stupid with a squat or a deadlift or whatever. And it's like, well, can you touch? Well, you don't need to be able to touch your toes, but can you do a bodyweight squat? Well, not really, but it doesn't matter, because if I put weight on, then obviously it'll strengthen the mood and all that. And it's
if you put weight on, it'll pull you down into the squat.
Yeah, exactly. But you won't be able to get back over there. See, but we've all done that, right? I've definitely done that. And it's like it's one of those things where actually, if you take a step back and just start from where you're at and move from there. Like the Indian clubs, right? I'm like, I could have done lots of twiddles and stuff like that, but then, like, you might be looking at it and then go, well, it kind of looks all right, but what are you doing? Whereas actually, if you take it from the very beginning and just start, do it simply, and just build on it every single day or every week or whatever time you've got, you get better at it. And this is one of the things that I think blurred between trainer and customer, client, student, whatever you want to call them. And it's, people come and say, right, I'm not getting the results I want, so I need you to push me harder. And then when you say, right, have you tried, like, just taking a step back? No, because I want results now. And that's what we're here for, isn't it? To try and get people away from that. And which has got its place, and if you want that, that's fine. But like trying to get people away from that and say, right, if you really, really, really do want results, here's what you do. And like Paul said, working with Paul McElroy, he'll do exactly that. It'd be like, I'll get you to lift some heavy stuff, but you'll start out with like a 20-kilo bell or whatever.
Yeah, exactly. That's what it was. But what is harder? When people say, I want to be pushed harder, what does that mean? Does that mean actually you're going to be doing your mobility twice a week and you're going to be doing your food prep? Is that pushing you hard? Or is pushing you hard making you do an extra 20 squats when you don't want to?
I think most people have the perception, don't they, that being, and I'm reading several books and things at the moment, but most people have the perception that if they're not where they want to be, or they want to get, and for the majority of people out there, so it's lose weight or lose body fat or whatever it is, it's because they're not working hard enough. It's because they're not pushing themselves hard enough. It's because they're in some way lazy and need to sweat more, basically, and need to just, almost push themselves to being sick, and it's this notion that the majority of people have, which isn't probably helped by a lot of the stuff that you see on social media and you read in the newspapers, and you see celebrities talking about training for hours and hours a day. And, so that, I think what most people think is when they come to people like us is, you're going to push me hard. And I have it all the time where people come in and they say, I don't really actually like being, I don't want you to shout at me, and I don't want you to be, and I don't
think I've ever heard you shout.
Yeah, exactly. I've never shouted at anyone in my life. But people have that view, don't they, of trainers, and they see this stuff on the TV and all this, that, you're going to be shouting and swearing and berating them and pushing them and making them do things they don't want to do, which obviously, as we know, and hopefully through doing this, this podcast, people will come to understand is totally not what we're about, and not what most people need or want.
Here's the thing with this, right? Because I used to be that person, right? I used to do 35 minutes on the rowing machine, and trying to get 8,000 kilometers. 8,000 kilometers. Yes,
that's not a bad workout.
Yeah. So 8 kilometers. That would take a while, wouldn't it? But you know what I mean. But that sort of thing, I go massively on the treadmill. I'll go out for a massive run and all. And I was and sometimes doing it at lunchtime when I had a proper job, and then in the evening afterwards as well. Finish work, go to the gym, do that, and then go home. And everything would stink because it was sweaty and everything, right? So this will be an interesting question with you guys, right? So I went down to the gym this morning. I was there for an hour, but today was a longer session. Monday I went down there. I was there for about 40 minutes. Friday I'll be about 40 minutes. Yesterday I did 10 minutes of snatches and some mace swings, and that was it. Tomorrow I'm going to do, I'll probably do some swings, and I might do 10 or 20 minutes, and then I might do some Indian club stuff. I do Indian club stuff every day, but it takes 10 minutes. You can do that wherever and whenever, right? So across a week, and then I don't do anything on a Saturday and Sunday, right? So across a week, I probably do 3.5 hours of exercise, right? My guys do 3 hours, in 3 sessions, right? So I'll probably do 3.5 hours in my sessions, and then I'll do little bits of movement, snacks, and what have you in between. So what about you guys? How long do you do? Because this is where people go, well, hang on, you're where you're at, right? How much time and effort have you had to put in that? And it's well, yes, I haven't done it all because I've put 3 hours a day in. It's because I've put a few hours a week in for, well, how old am I now? For 8 years or something like that. Because I didn't start until my mid-30s as well, right? Which is another thing. It's not too late, right? So what about you guys? How much time do you spend actually, on yourself in that respect? Because this is when people think I need all that time. I've got kids. I've got this. I've got that. I haven't got any kids, but we run businesses. James has got 2 kids. Paul, you've got 2 kids, haven't you? You've got families, you've got responsibilities, you've got a house to look after, you've got this, that, So when people say they haven't got the time because they can't afford 5 hours a week or more, and it's well, you don't need that. So what do your situations look like with that, with your training?
You want to go first?
Yeah. Well, firstly, what I wouldn't do, like most guys who hit 40, is decide to run an Ironman where you have to train 17 hours a week, which is typically the solution for most guys in their 40s is okay, I'm going to do an Ironman. It involves buying a bike. No, I've never really had a competitive approach to training until I started working with Paul. At the moment, my training is about an hour and 15 a day, 5 days of the week with the weekends off. And usually that's focused on some general strength and conditioning on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays, and then kettlebell sport on Tuesdays and Thursdays. But in a very efficient training in many ways. Sometimes the reps are quite high, but the weight's quite low, and but it's all periodized, so I know what I'm doing every week. I time block because I have to know what I'm doing, and I sit there with my Google Calendar and I block out the time, because if I don't do it, I'll go stir crazy. I need it, but if it does, it won't happen unless I put it in. So because of, like you say, the kids, the business, everything goes around it. Like I time blocked this morning. I got it done between 2 classes, all my calls, etc. And sometimes that means training at 9 at night. I'll get it done because it's a priority for me. But any more than that, and I can't recover. So I'll often, like you, do those movement snacks. I'll do the warm-ups with my clients. I'll do some FRC stuff, some of the Hunter Cook classes, if I've got time. But really, I have to be quite efficient. And that's why I quite like about strength training is that you get in there, you've got your 2 kettlebells, you've got your barbell, bang, 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 bang. Most of it's actually standing around recovering. And I try not to check my phone or anything like that. But I try and be quite efficient, no more than probably 7 hours a week.
Yeah, I mean, I'd probably say I do less than 5, possibly less than 4. It's I always do a Sunday morning session with Guillaume and Paul, who are friends of mine, and that's our kind of session on a Sunday morning. It's usually either 7 till 8 in the morning on a Sunday. We meet about 6:45, put the kettle on, put the coffee on, and do some strength training. It's different every week. We do loaded carries out in a car park. But both of those guys are stronger than me, so it's good because they kind of push me a little bit. Even if it's on farmers walks, whack another 5 each side. And we're doing very simple, straightforward stuff. I teach spinning 1 day a week. So at the moment it used to be 2. So I do a 45-minute spin class once a week. I do that session on a Sunday. And I'll probably do another 2 workouts myself in the gym, in the studio, but only kettlebell stuff and very basic. Often maybe just half an hour or 45 minutes if I've got space in the day between clients. But I never really go over 5 hours a week. Specifically for me. Occasionally if I'm training clients, but then it's like you say, it's the movement snacks. It's kind of, if I'm doing mace bell stuff with someone, I'll pick up a mace and they'll be doing it opposite me, and we'll be kind of working together, or pick up Indian clubs or doing stuff. So I'm always active and staying active, but I'm not really, certainly not committing lots and lots of time to training. So yeah, I mean, I think for most of us, 5 hours a week tops, because it's not what we're trying to, we're not. And I posted something yesterday, which is about don't go to the gym, to burn calories, or exercise for your health and for your movement and for your strength, not to lose weight. You do that in other ways with your intake, basically. You don't try and waste, like you say, half an hour or an hour at a time doing cardio, because it's it's not going to get you there.
It's a catalyst for doing things outside. My most successful clients train twice a week, and then they just live more active lifestyles outside, and then they make better decisions about how they move around the office. They don't just sit at their desk from 9 in the morning till 6 in the evening without a lunch break. They start taking walks around the block for lunch. They'll do active weekends, or they'll seek other ways of just relaxing other than sitting down, and that's really where the work is done. The 2 training sessions or 3 training sessions a week they do with us is kind of like an appointment just with themselves, really, more than anything.
Well, I've written a couple of things down here, because this is the takeaway that people want from this stuff, right? So they want to be able to listen to this and then go, yeah, but what do I do? What do I do, right? So the thing is, you're probably doing too much. You're either not doing anything or you're doing too much, probably. Or you're doing just the right amount of not the right thing. One of those things, right? So the first thing I wrote down was, Well, it wasn't the first thing, but then one of the things I wrote down was how guilty I feel every Sunday morning when I wake up and I see that James has already done his session and all that, and I'm still in bed with a coffee, watching the iPad with the dog and Sean and like and all that. And I'm like, well, everyone else gets up at 6 o'clock on a bloody Sunday and goes, but then you've got kids and I haven't, so there you go.
And he's always smiling as well.
Yeah, I know. It's annoying, isn't it?
I don't like this man.
So anyway, what Paul said. And what I said about, booking my time into the gym and that, you schedule it, right? And then you said you schedule it because it's a priority to you, right? So you say, I want to get fit and strong. Okay, I'll find out what to do, but when can I do it? And then you can find out when you can do it, and then you find someone who can help you do that. Simple as that. And if you find someone and they go, well, I can't help you do it then, and you go, well, that's the only time I've got, you'll have to find someone else, right? But that's just the way it looks like to me, is you book the time. So we've all talked about, like, if you're on programs, I know exactly what weight I'm going to be lifting and how many times I'm going to be lifting it 6 weeks from now on Wednesday. I just know. Well, hopefully I'll be able to, but I know what I'm going to try and do, put it that way. Because it's in my program, right? And if it doesn't work, it means the program hasn't worked yet. So I'll step back, probably start it again, and then build up to it or change it about or whatever. But I always know at least what I'm going to be doing, like in the next 6 weeks, if not longer. And then the priority thing is you get what you commit to, right? So Paul said it's a priority for him, so therefore he will get stronger because he's going to do it. So when people say, I want to do that, and you're like, is it a priority? Yes, it is. Okay, what have you done towards it? Well, nothing. So it's not a priority, is it? You get what you prioritize. So what your life looks like right now is what you've been prioritizing. And that's like, it could be anything. It doesn't matter. People say like, oh, I have a lot of this. Like I say, I haven't got any kids, but the guys who I work with, mostly have kids, guys in their 40s with kids. And I don't do weekends. And lots of people are like, why don't you do weekends? It's like, because I want you to spend time with your kids at the weekend, and you can come and train with me during the week, because you're probably going to miss the bedtime anyway because of work and all that. So you might as well get it all done in one go. And they'll go, oh, no, I love the kids and I want a better life for them and all that, and I'm going to prioritize them. And it's like, well, spend more time with them. And that's like, it's as simple as that, right? So it's those things. Your priorities can get skewed, not because you're a bad person or whatever, but you can be like, right, I want more for my kids, so therefore I'm going to work longer hours to provide more for them. And it's like, whoa, and that's when priorities get like kind of thrown out the window, basically, and you just end up doing the thing that you think you should do. So those are the two things that I got out of it, is make it a priority and then schedule time. And
that's what happened over lockdown, is people who were training every week made it a priority because there wasn't anything else impacting on that time. So people were looking for things to do, and health became more of a focus. What I've been trying to be keen to do with all my clients is, okay, now we're easing out of lockdown. It doesn't change its value. If anything, it demonstrates that it needs to remain high, not only because of your immune system and all that stuff, but because it is something that is important to you, and you finally built the habit and the framework around it. Don't lose it. Don't give it up, Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I just like to say as well, it sounds very holier than thou training at 7 a.m. on a Sunday. But from what you just said, that time, I just know that for all three of us, nothing else is going to be happening at 7 a.m. on a Sunday. Do you know what I mean?
Exactly.
That is it.
Exactly.
There's no excuse to not train, because you're not going to have a business meeting. You're not going to have anything. So 7 a.m. on a Sunday, we can all get down there. We can get it done, and then it's good, And then you feel good for the rest of the day because you've done it.
Not a heavy night out with the lads on a Saturday, then.
No, I haven't had one of them for about 20 years.
James just contradicted himself as well, because he said it sounds holier than now getting up early on a Sunday and going and doing training. And it's the exact opposite.
Yeah,
you should be doing nothing and going to church, mate.
Well, he does put holy water on the bells.
Yeah. That's sanitizer, yeah. Right, okay. I think we're just probably about done for today. I think that's good. We've had a good chat. And what we're going to try and do, obviously, what we will be doing in the near future is try and we thought this would be a good topic for today to sort of delve into, coming out of lockdown and maybe taking some of the lessons that you've learned in lockdown and moving them, like you say, not losing focus as we come out of it. But we'll be getting guests on as well, talking about specific areas of health and fitness and lifestyle and that sort of thing. And like I say, wherever you see this podcast, if you want to, comment or get in touch with us to let us know what you'd like to hear more about and people you may like us to, to get in touch with, that would be fantastic. But I'm going to hand back over to Mr. Peter Lant now.
Are you? Okay. Hello. Hello and goodbye. Thanks for coming. Say bye-bye, Paul.
Bye-bye.
And say bye-bye, James.
Bye-bye.
You did that last time. Say bye-bye and you waved. And it's like, no, it's a podcast.
Right.
Yes,
Great
say
radio
bye-bye,
hand.
Peter. Bye-bye, Peter. There we go.
You've been listening to Health Odyssey with Peter Lant, Paul Bassett and James St. Pierre. To get your regular fix of hype-free health, you can subscribe and leave a review wherever you get your favorite podcasts. You can find out more on today's and other topics at healthodyssey.com or find us on Facebook or Instagram by searching for Health Odyssey.